I leave you to finish?
What?
I leave you to finish?
Yeah.
Alright. Hand those over. I'm gonna go catch up with DJ.
Enjoy your day, sir.
Okay. We'll leave a note or whatever, and we're headed up.
Get you to say and spell your name, please.
Michelle Becker, Michelle, Becker, Becker.
What is it to? What's your daily routine?
A daily routine at school. The kids come in at about 8:30. If we have assembly, then they usually get in about 8:45. We start with language arts. It's usually reading a story and a workbook page and then answering 2 comprehension questions. And then we move on to either social studies or science, then either health or helpful living for them, or math. We finish math before lunch, and then they have lunch where they can leave for an hour or stay here. And after that, we either have a special when we get back, or we work on handwriting.
How have your perceptions of the Louisiana education system changed? And if you will, just direct your questions to me.
Okay.
So how have your perceptions changed of the Louisiana education system?
In the beginning, I thought that it was going to be a lot like it was back home in teaching. Here, it's a lot more laid back. The curriculum is the spiral curriculum, so they learn the same thing every year. It just goes into more depth. It's different. I guess the expectations for some students, education is valued, but in some families, it's not as important as working. So you can tell students who put the effort in, or students who want to put the effort in but have to do other things when they get home, just as far as turning in assignments and projects. They're not held accountable like they are back in the States.
How do you, yesterday's lesson, how do you feel that went?
My lesson yesterday, I thought it started off good, but it was hard because I don't think that the students are used to being read to. Just listening to stories or reading stories, I don't think that they get that a lot. And so I think it was hard for a lot of the students to stay focused and listening. They wanted to talk or play with the person sitting beside them. And also, it's hard for them to write full sentences and spell a lot of things. And so a lot of them needed one-on-one attention when they were writing what was important to them and making a complete sentence. And it's hard when you have a class full of 15 students to get to each individual one and for them to stay on task while they wait for you to help them.
How do you accommodate your lessons to meet the diverse learning needs of your students?
Accommodating lessons here is hard. A lot of the teachers haven't been trained or don't know how to deal with special needs students. There's a student in my class who is blind in one eye. She has a lot of one-on-one help after school at the end of the day with my teacher and another teacher who teaches infant 1. But as far as during the day, she just sits there and listens. She can't write or copy anything from the board. So during that time, she's just sitting there. There's really nothing else that they can do for her right now besides just having her sit there, because if she can't copy it, I guess having her just in the classroom and hearing the information is what's going to help her remember it. She's starting to learn Braille, I know. After school every day they have sheets of paper that have buttons glued on them, and she's beginning to learn the alphabet that way.
I'm blanking on the question.
Okay.
you about your lesson, and I asked you about your diverse learning needs and your perceptions of the community school education. What's something you wish you would have known before coming?
So many things. Something I guess I wish I would have known before coming here was just, I knew that resources were going to be limited, but just how limited it was going to be. It's hard to teach any lesson just because you don't have technology for one. You don't have manipulatives like doing math lessons or anything where you want the students to get their hands on things is just hard. Even having paper in the classroom. So I guess I would have liked if we could have brought more things like that, but then it's also hard to bring those things over here and get it through customs. So possibly just having more ideas for lessons where you can make things here for the students.
How have you adapted your teaching styles to meet your challenges?
My teaching style, you have to become a lot more laid back with them. They take longer to copy something or to write something or to get through a workbook page just because that's how they are. They get their work done, but just like the police culture here, no one's in a rush to do anything, take their time. So my teaching style, I've also had to learn how to just go back to teaching on the whiteboard again and having students that look at them, you write notes on the board and they have to copy them in their notebooks. It's not like you can pass any worksheets or any notes out to them because there isn't a copier, a printer for you to do that. So just learning to have them copy them down, but then also try and think of things to say or talk about that help them remember the information.
And what is the biggest challenge for you as far as teaching?
I think the biggest challenge has been communication. Not only do some of the kids speak just Spanish at home, so their parents don't even speak English, but also it's just the language barrier. The way that I pronounce things is different than the way they pronounce things. Some of the students know the English alphabet, but then some of them know the alphabet in Spanish. So when you say a letter, for example, when you say A or E for some of my students, they're writing an I because that's what they hear. So the biggest challenge is like trying to teach them, and also in a way when they can understand me, and then I can understand them, because they might say a word, and I know one time one of the students was saying mayor, and I thought she was saying manners. So language barrier.
What are you going to take away from this trip?
I'm going to take away just how fortunate that we are back home for our education that we have, the resources that we have, and also just everything that we know and how we can meet the needs of special needs students. But then also I'm going to take away just every place you go, it's going to be different. And so just having an open mind and working with all students in all schools. No school is the same. And just learning to adapt and teach the best that you can.
Final question, why would you recommend this trip?
I would recommend this trip because it's a great experience to see a different side of education. You're taken out of your comfort zone, what you're used to, what you're accustomed to. You're working with teachers who want to learn from you, who want to share what they know too, and you're getting to work with students who are just different in the culture, the things that their families might value, and what's important to them. And then you're also, it's a different experience. And you get to see a different side that really just opens up your mind.